So, I know the vlog has not been quite as well received as I would like it to be. I haven't gotten as many downloads as I would like to have gotten off of it, but I'm going to continue to do it because honestly I like it. And I have something that's coming up this weekend that is very exciting for me. I have wade fished the Spring River several times. It's a river down in northeast Arkansas. They stock a lot of trout in it, and they allow you to fish with power bait, whatever you want. I've actually had some folks get mad at me down there because they are fishing the riffles with power bait. I am just on the other side of the riffles, hitting the rocks with a fly and tearing them up. I mean, in all honesty, fishing for rainbow trout and fishing for smallmouth bass, damn near the same thing. They like to ambush their food. You got rocks, you're gonna have them. At least that's been my experience. You might have a different experience. I'd love to hear about it. If I'm doing something wrong, I would love to hear about it. We've caught, between three of us, over 200 in a day. Very, very cool place to fish. The thing is, with the Spring River, it turns into Mardi Gras on the water in the summer. So if you've ever been to the Black River in Missouri, and you know how the guys have those pesticide packs on their back, they take those brand new and mix them up with margarita mix and tequila and shoot them into people's mouth as they ride by. I made the mistake of floating it in the wintertime and then thinking I could beat the summer rush by going before Memorial Day. Haven't gone back. So, guy that was on the podcast, go back and listen to Jeff Tatum from 19 Delta. Really great guy, makes really great baits, makes a lot of custom baits for professional fishermen. So they'll find a bait that they want. It doesn't have the spoon they want on it, doesn't have the color they want on it, whatever. He makes it. And he can't sell them to other people, but he sells a lot of great baits to the public. Now, these are not your $5 or $10 crankbaits. Don't mistake me. These are like 15 to 20 bucks. You know what I mean? They're pricey. And as a guy who doesn't spin fish so much as fly fish, I probably wouldn't have bought one from him. But he sent me two of them, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. He sent me two of them for being on the podcast, and they are beautiful. But back to what I was saying. The Spring River has trout, rainbow and brown, brook, and I don't think they have cutthroat. I don't think they put in cutthroat. I know they put in rainbow, brook, and brown trout. And then it spills, the river comes in, Mammoth Springs comes up, Mammoth Springs feeds into the river, turns it into Coldwater River. It goes down to another dam, takes it into a lake, because the first dam's at the spring, takes it to another dam, builds a lake, and that lake turns into another dam, and there's an island where the Department of Conservation has their trout hatchery, and they release the trout. Well, on good authority, if you stand by where the water comes out of the hatchery and you float a glow ball or something looking like a glow ball in brown, just nail them, because they all stack up there at a certain time of day. We didn't fish that. We have a few times, but we didn't monopolize it. But all through that, on one side of the river, on one side of the dam, it's never more than waist deep, unless you get in the mud and you sink a little bit, and then it's a little bit more. I've never gotten crotch deep in there. You go on the other side, and the other part of the dam, it's really deep. And it gets really deep, and there's a lot of big browns, a lot of big rainbows, and you go down, you get walleye, and then as the water turns back into warmer water, you wind up with a lot of smallmouth bass. Well, Jeff Tatum will tell you he's caught a lot of walleye, a lot of smallies, and a lot of trout out of there. I think he told me his personal best out of that river, just right up from where he's got a place, is about 19 and change. And that's a nice rainbow. Yeah, that's a really nice rainbow on a fly rod. So we're thinking about going down there this weekend. Now, what scares me is I've fished a lot of places. I fished Big Creek and flood stage here in Missouri, so all the shut-ins turned into rapids. One friend dumped, lost a bunch of stuff. Thankfully, I didn't dump. I thought I was going to dump. I know I've got photos of it somewhere on one of the channels on Instagram for Kayak Flyer or the Kayak Flyer Facebook page. I know I've got photos of stuff. If not, I'll try and repost some of them. It was wicked wild. Been out to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, floated the Lower Mountain Fork, Presbyterian Falls, a 3-foot waterfall. First time I went over it, I dumped it. Second time I went over it, perfect. Third time I went over it, I threw my paddle up in the air and put my hat on my chest like I was praising America, and everything was fine until I hit and my hind end slid and I dumped. Didn't dump it the next 4 times I went over it. It was a really nice place. It's shallow. You get your stuff back. You really lock all your stuff down before you go over any major waterfalls anyway. But this river has a 6-foot waterfall. So the plan is I'm going to go first. So I will pull over, give one of my friends all my equipment, my cooler, all my fishing gear, everything. I'm going to go over the fall. I'll turn around and come back and stage at the portage area, get everybody else's gear, and then when they go over the fall, they can come back and get it. This, in my mind, is the best way to do it. We could all portage around the fall. But what would that be? You can't say you floated the river if you didn't go over the fall. I mean, if you've got a tree blocking access, if you've got a natural barrier that you have to portage around, if the water's too low, portaging is fine. I have no problem with portaging. My problem is, if you're going to go and experience a river, and you're really going to see what the river's like, you stage that. And you get one guy stupid like me, you know, a friend of mine said I needed to lean more into my jokes. You get one guy stupid like me that goes over the fall first. Now, I'm not going to waste a bunch of equipment, tear it up, risk losing it. I'm not going to do that because that's just dumb. But you get somebody to stage it, go over it, they come up, you hand off all the equipment, and then you go over it. Don't portage around it, man, unless you're going to break your kayak. And that's the thing. If you're going to break your kayak, then yes. But if you know you've got a quality kayak and you know you're not going to break it, or if you're just like me and a redneck, and you know, I'm not a redneck, I'm a hillbilly. There's a huge difference in the two. Watch the first season of Ozark to find that out. But you know, if you're a hillbilly like me and I ain't scared, you know, jump on there and do it. Experience that river. Just go for that experience. I also talked about last week was me going on a stretch river that I wanted to go on, and I wanted that experience. Well, guess what? The day after this post, I'm going over that waterfall. And probably in the middle of next week, I'm going to post another one of these talking about what that waterfall was like. But it's going to be an adventure. And it's going to be an adventure that I wanted to go on. Nobody determined my self-worth. Nobody determined who I am. I said, I want to do this. I want to experience this. I want to go for this. And I'm going to do it. And that's all this video is about tonight. Do not let anybody decide your self-worth. You know how much you're worth. You know your family unit. You know everything else. You know the dangers in it. But you know what? You can be killed just as easy driving to work as you can going over that waterfall. Actually, you can be killed a lot easier driving to work than going over that waterfall. People go over that waterfall 100 times a day. And from what I understand, there'll probably be boobies. Sorry if that offended anybody. But boobies. So we're going down there. I'm even thinking about talking to my friends about going down there and just floating it, not even fishing it, just hitting it, see what it's like, and just chillax, have a couple of beers and go. And that may be my attitude on Sunday. It'll depend on when I wake up. Do I want to go ahead and grab a spinning reel? Do I want to go ahead and grab a fly rod? Do I want to grab both? Do I want to take 2 different weights of fly rod? Do I just want to take one spinning wheel? I don't know. And so that's how we're going to look at this. And this is going to be a very exciting opportunity. And I thought I had the volume turned off on my notifications, so I apologize. But that being said, that's what's going to happen. Cheers. Keep the dry side up.